Good morning, I'm Jerry and I'm going to film the Stanfield garden tractor ploughing day. So let's go and have a look. Right, there's some old push bikes. I can't tell you too much about them, but they're old. Somebody likes the Lancer. It's a nice Ruston Hornsby there, probably about 3 horsepower. Driving a water pump. Good old Lister D, the water pump. Another Lister D there. Root and Vandervoort. McCormick Dairy, 1.5 horsepower, driving a grain mill. Little Ruston Hornsby PB. Looks like an International. We've got an Amanco, 2.5 horsepower. It's a hired man. Lister Junior, single flywheel. Another Amanco, probably a hired man. Another Amanco. That might be a chore boy. Next to the old Lister D. And there's one of my favourites, the big old Fairbanks Morse. That's going to be 6 horsepower. That's probably about 1920 roughly, I think. Another Fairbanks, a Manco, I mean. And there's a little chore boy. Nicely done up one, that is. Nice early Lister D, that one. Spoke flywheel, you don't see that very often. There's another quite an early Lister D. It runs nice and quiet. Lister D again. Ruston Hornsby, 2.5 horsepower, PR that is. And there's a Lister Junior. Right, let's take a look at some tractors. Nice sandy land here, very stony, so polish up the old moldboard. Nice little Isiki. Oh, struggling a bit. And here we've got a Bristol 10. You don't see them ploughing very often. About 12 horsepower. And in my book of Bristol crawlers, that'll climb a gradient of 72 degrees. And it's pulling a full-size plough. And then we've got the slightly later Bristol, I think that's a Bristol 20. And that's pulling the tooth for a plough as well. Ransomes mow track, I think. I was pulling that with ease. And this is a Bristol 10. This is the version what they would have used in an orchard, because it's got the guards over the tracks. Might see it running later. That noisy thing we can hear is a Drayton 34 diesel engine on a Ransomes crawler. Noisy, high revving things that burn a lot of oil. I wouldn't have one for a gift, but it's an MG6 diesel and it's got the left and right hand plough on it, which you don't see too often. So it's a nice little rig. I'm just going to look at these Bristols again. Here we've got a 4-wheel drive with a small set of disc arrows. I don't know what it is. Oh, an Aeron. I don't know what country that is, but that's a nice little bit of kit. 4-wheel drive, 4 equal size wheels. Just a nice little set of disc arrows. Try and catch up running later. And over we've got a Doots, or Deutz, however you want to pronounce it. So left-handed and right-handed plough on that one. Probably classed as horticultural more than garden tractor, because it is a little bit on the big side, but goes alright. I think this is an Alice Charmer L mid-mounted plough. It's done a good job. A quick look across the field, just to see just how many tractors there are. And it said this is the biggest do for garden tractors in England. And I don't disbelieve it. We've got the Ransom crawler going over there. We're going to get some close-ups of that. He's just restarted that, playing up a little bit, I think. See the Bristol in the background. And behind him we've got a little Ransom crawler with a left and right hand plough. As you can see, they're 2-stroke diesel. That's what smokes quite a lot. That's an early Drayton. You can tell by the smaller diesel tank on that. The later ones, they put a much bigger diesel tank on them to get a better flow of diesel. As I said before, it's high revving, smoky, noisy. I'll have a petrol version every time. he got a bit closer to the furrow wall. But he'll learn. There's Bristol. He's going for it now. Quite a good crawler. I steer with the joystick, whereas the later 20 you've got two steering levers, and there's a 20 coming down. Back with the old Ransomes MG6. And here we've got a Hino Moto, probably 15-16 horsepower, supposedly a good tractor. That might be a 14 horsepower. A single furrow plough. Here's some of the ploughmen having a break. Some of these tracks are quite modern, like what's supposed to be a Kubota or Coyote. I don't like it anyway. Nice little 1300 or 13 horsepower Isiki. And this bloke used to run a little Boland's tractor, so he's upgraded to that. We'll see him ploughing later. Oh, he's done a nice job. Oh, it's a nice bit of land to plough. It's ploughing really nice. Quite sandy. Oh, New Holland. And a lot of these people, they make their own ploughs. It's hard to get a decent plough for these tractors. And this lady's done a very good job as well. With a Kubota. One of my old favourites, and I've done a lot of acres with one. In Zanny, we'll film that ploughing later. Nice tractors. The old trusty. Got a Douglas engine on that, 6 horsepower. And this one's been ploughing in the fields for 30 odd years. And it's got a Douglas on that as well. He's a good ploughman, I can't remember his name, but and here we have a trusty, and I think that's a Norton engine on that one. That belongs to Andy, that does. He's a fair ploughman. Another trusty going there. And these are made in the 40s and early 50s. Also done a 4-wheel ride on one. Here's young Freddie. He's only about 85 or 6. With Janmar. Hello, Freddie. Ploughing must keep him young, I suppose. And there's Big Jim on his little Kubota. That's only about 12 horsepower, but just a nice little job, look. Alright, Jim. Got Jill in the car, she said hello. Jet 5 engine on this trusty, and that one has got the gears on that, 3 forward I think and 1 reverse. Another little trusty there with a Jet 5 on it. Got a bit of a wiggle there, he's going to try and take that out, but he's enjoying himself. It's more difficult than you think trying to keep straight with something like that. Nice little Ford 4-wheel drive. Quite fancy one of them myself. And there's a Kumai. Or, it looks to me like Mitsubishi. Now I want to see this ploughing, little Alice Charmer, the Brindley Hardy plough. And they're a nice little plough. It's from America, that is, so is the tractor. That's a nice little setup, that is. Something you don't see much of over here. And then we've got a little gut prod or Allen. It could be one or the other. Left and right-handed plough. I've seen that working a few times. And there we've got a Kubota. Alice Charmer over here, pulling a single furrow TS42 plough. Got a Colt. Made in Stanfield these were. I've been told they do suffer a little bit of gearbox trouble, but what a nice tractor. They do a deluxe model and do an ordinary one. We'll watch that ploughing later. So we've got my favourite, Ransom crawlers. This one's got the extra fiberglass bonnet on, which just set it off. And he's got the TS30 hand lift plough. There's a lot of adjustment on there, they're a good little plough. We'll see him ploughing in a minute. And we've got another MG40 diesel. This is an early one because you can tell by the small diesel tank again. It seems to run fairly quiet for the diesel. We've got a TS42 single furrow plough, and we're going to have a look at a 2-furrow one later. Notice how noisy they are. So you lift that plough up exactly when you want to. have a look at this one ploughing. Yeah, I think this drawbar needs to come down a hole or so on the plough, so it pulls the front of the plough down. But there's a lot of stones in this ground lifting it up. Ain't doing too bad. Yeah, that Drayton, that's one of the more quiet ones I've heard. He must have baffles in his exhaust or something. Oh, he's burying his rubbish. He ain't done a bad job. There's another Ransomes own 6 horsepower engine, and when they're over 2,000 revs they produce 8 horsepower. Yeah, maybe next year I'll bring my MG40, do a bit of ploughing. Yeah, the plough's running along there quite nice. I've got one of the earliest TS30s. I don't know whether it's an A or a B, but mine isn't assisted with a spring, but it lifts up the opposite way to this one, and I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know whether it's going to be easy to lift out the ground or not. But ploughman Eric Davies, he uses one and has been doing so for some years, so they can't be too bad. So lovely and quiet that petrol engine is. He's just going along nice and easy and enjoying himself. It looks like that one might be an electric start. I can't see no battery though, unless it's hidden inside the cockpit. My mate Paul over there drawing out a furrow, trying to keep straight. We're going to see him in a minute. But first, we're going to see Mr. Buttress on his MG6 or 40, whatever it is. MG40. two YL bodies on that plough. They do plough very nicely, and YL stands for Yorkshire Light. Oh, he stopped. As I said earlier, come and see my mate Paul. Was too thorough. Yeah, a bit of a not perfectly straight. I'll rib him about that. Looks too thorough. LICQ 14 horsepower. You're going to straighten up later. You're going to straighten up later.
At least I'm here doing it. I ain't scared of the competition.
He's quite a good plough and he does win quite a few. But he cheats. He's got a 2 furrow plough. And a single furrow plough can't compete with a 2 furrow. They should have categories for this, but they don't. They don't upset anyone. Oh, I just had a natter with Paul. All that keeping straight. He used to have a Mitsubishi 2-wheel drive, and he sold it and he's got this one, but he prefers the old 2-wheel drive, so whether he'll actually buy another one of those later on, I don't know. Seems to run alright, doesn't it? I'll see you then, Paul. See you at the next rally or whatever. Well, we're going to do a few more tractors and head for Castle Acre. A nice outfit that. You can't beat the old Ransom crawlers. The engine's good and the tracks are good. They will pull. We've got hydraulics on this one. And on the 40s the tracks are slightly more heavy duty than the 6s and 5s and the 2s. Lovely outfit, lovely. Two Ransomes together. I do like that bonnet, but when they do come up for sale, they're probably about £500 or £600. That's got a battery on it, so that's electric start as well. Here's that Kubota 14 horsepower. I believe that plough is a Twos. Single furrow plough. Did a nice job. And there's my mate David Smith, very good ploughman, very hard to beat him. I have beaten him once or twice. We'll get close up of that little Ford in a minute. Runs nice and quiet. Dave often ploughs a good depth, whereas some of the garden tractors don't. But the skimmer's working nicely, taking all that trash off the top. Another tractor I like is the little old Kubota, the earlier ones. A nice shape.